Cards versus Colonels tomorrow, 3 o'clock in the season opener.
You are Locked On Louisville, your daily podcast on the Louisville Cardinals. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Card Nation, what's going on, everyone? Welcome into this Friday edition of the Locked On Louisville podcast. I'm your host, Dalton Pence. This is year number 6 of covering U of L, year number 4 of hosting this show. And who better to know that than a guy that's been on a little bit of a hiatus, but he's back just in time for the season kickoff. It's Grant Mulligan, former Louisville football recruiting assistant. G-Money, what's up, brother? It's nice to talk to you.
Guys? What's going on, guys? It's great to be back. Thank you for having me back. And then, milestone, got a shout out to my man here. We're getting very close to 1,000 episodes of Locked On Louisville podcast. And I got to say, I throw a lot of hate on him because it's funny. I've been known to give him his fair share of harassment. But it's really been great to be along for this ride, man. I really appreciate you having me on consistently. Yeah. To the fans, I appreciate you tuning in. And congrats to Dalton for almost 1,000 episodes.
I appreciate that a ton. It definitely is surreal to be able to look back on. Every episode that we've had on with G-Money is, of course, a good episode. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. Just a reminder, Locked On Louisville, free and available on all streaming services, 5 days a week, your team every day. All about EKU prep on the show. Players to watch for. Will the Cardinals cover the spread? Who are some players you need to know about Eastern Kentucky? And just an overall vibe check. And we'll discuss the matchup in its entirety. But first, today's episode of the show is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Again, terms apply. Grant, let's get right on into it. Louisville taking on Eastern Kentucky in the 2025 season opener tomorrow on Saturday, 3 o'clock Eastern kickoff at L&N Cardinals Stadium. Give me your initial vibe check, like overall thoughts on this game, how you're feeling heading into year 3 of Jeff Brohm and much more.
I think what I'm looking for here, first of all, vibe check. I'm really excited. I think that this is another year. I think 10 wins. We haven't talked about this yet, but I think 10 wins is totally within reason.
That's my prediction, brother. That's my official prediction, 10-2.
10-2. I feel really good about it. I like what we have on this team. There's a few pieces that I really feel like are on the brink of a breakout, and I'm hoping that this is the year for them. But my feeling coming into this game, and really what I want to see coming into this game, smooth, consistent, hiccup-free football to show that the work in the offseason has paid off. We're ready to roll for this season. I don't need to see them blow the doors off of them like a 70-0, but I want to see no turnovers. I want to see minimal negative yardage plays. I want to see smooth on schedule. We're ready to go.
I don't disagree. I think that, this type of a game against an FCS opponent, look, I am not trying to disrespect Eastern Kentucky. I mean, I'm one of those people that if it's not Kentucky, I kind of hope for all the in-state schools to win games. That's just kind of how I've always been. Moorhead, Murray, Western, Eastern, you name it. But I think with this game, it falls in that category of outside of wins and losses, and that is the most important part, but in a game that you're supposed to win by a ton, not much to gain, a whole lot to lose if you allow it, right? So winning this game in blowout fashion like you're supposed to, you get the win, and that's important. But I think for me, it kind of goes with what you're saying. I want to see as mistake-free football as we can. And Jeff Brohm kind of highlighted this in his press conference. Week 1, you're trying to play as up to strength as you can. That's limiting turnovers, maximizing efficiency on drives, not giving up big plays on defense. I think it sounds kind of cliche, Grant, but it's handling business for Louisville. But to make it to go a step further, I think it's emphatically winning the turnover battle. Like, not only do I want to see Louisville keep the ball and not give it away, but I want to see the Cardinals assert themselves and get those takeaway, whether it's fumbles, whether it's interceptions, turnover on downs. I don't care as long as you're showing us, that consistency on defense, because there's a lot of eyes watching the defensive side of the ball this year.
That's right, and it's going to be a pressure point until it's shown otherwise. I know that we've seen our share with these raw English defenses of lapses, and that's why I think smooth and ironed out is the key word here. I don't want to see we're straight off the bus and we're already making coverage busts 30 yards down the field. Sound coverage. I think you're absolutely right, though, about the turnover battle. I think we have the kind of players who can go out there and make those splash plays on defense. And asserting ourselves in that fashion and making a defensive statement could certainly set the tone for a stronger year in that department.
I don't disagree there. And you look at the spread, and of course, the Cardinals are projected to win by a good amount. Sort of like how they were against Austin Peay last year. Cardinals winning that game 62-0. But now, currently, we're recording this on a Wednesday night. Now, if this changes a ton, then I don't know what to tell you. The Cardinals currently a 38.5-point favorite. Pretty large amount, right? But it feels like, Grant, I'm really confident in the Cardinals covering this, because this is a high-octane offense. Like, I think that they're going to score a boatload of points, and they're probably going to do a lot of that in the first half when the starters are still in. But I also think that with the depth that you have coming off the bench, you're still going to be able to keep that level of play up against an FCS opponent. But overall, I think Louisville's going to score probably over 50 points. It's kind of interesting because the total's like 54.5. I think Louisville's going to score over 50 points and cover the spread here. What about you?
I hate big spreads. I hate
it, like, because it's
big spreads.
The odds are against you, but man, you saw what they did against Austin Peay last year.
I did.
I can't imagine Eastern Kentucky is like that much better than Austin Peay, if at all. And I think that the offense is just as good, if not better, than it was last year.
I just can't in good conscience. I'm going to say no, not because I don't think that we have the ability to. Okay. This is a good conscience. I hate 30-point spreads.
So what's your prediction? What's your score prediction then?
I totally think that we could absolutely win 62-0. But if I were to place
score prediction,
my actual score prediction, let's say it's close. I'm going to go maybe 40. Let's go 48-17.
You think they scored that many points?
I think late in the game, it's entirely possible. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, when you look at games like this, that's not an uncommon score. If it's over, okay, halftime score 35-0, I think is completely reasonable. And then It gets down to the fact where they've still got their starters or high-level players playing deep into this game, and they break one off. Maybe they don't get 17 is maybe on the higher end.
I'm about to say that's a little bit too rich for me.
But I still don't. I hate big spreads because anything can happen in the course of that game. We score 35 points as a starting offense, and then we completely pull off the gas and we don't score again. I've seen weirder. I can't tell the fans. I can't tell the fans full-chested to go on FanDuel, sponsor the show, to go on FanDuel and bet the over or the bet Louisville to cover that, because I hate spreads of that size. That's just the truth. I can't get conscious.
I don't disagree there. I don't like the large spreads, but I think to kind of grasp why this spread is what it is, we need to talk a little bit about Eastern Kentucky, which is something we haven't done much. We need to give a small preview into who to focus on for the Colonels, and also on the other side, like who do we think Louisville, or who do we think is going to show up for Louisville, maybe outside of the normal names that we talk about. And we'll discuss a little bit more about this Colonels 2025 team when we come back on this pregame episode of the Locked On Louisville podcast. Card Nation, today's episode of the show is brought to you by Game Time. College football is back. I couldn't be more excited. The tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands, there's just nothing like it. But let's be real. Actually getting tickets can feel like more of a battle than the game itself. Endless queues, hidden fees, and prices jumping out at checkout. But that's why I utilize Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. It's easiest to score last-minute tickets on Game Time at the best prices with no surprise fees, because what you see is what you pay. I pulled up Game Time and just a couple taps. I saw amazing deals for the upcoming game against Eastern Kentucky. And guess what? The price is going to go down closer and closer that we get to kickoff at 3 o'clock. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms supply. Again, that's the promo code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. Cardinal fans, we have an important request. Locked On wants to hear from you. We put together a survey to learn more about our listeners and make your favorite podcast even better. This is your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't, and answer questions about our advertising. Go to lockedonpodcasts.com/survey to get started, because everyone who completes a survey will be entered for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. Again, that's lockedonpodcasts.com/survey. You can also find the link in the show notes and in this graphic at the bottom left hand of your screen if you're watching on YouTube. Thank you so much for helping us out. We're continuing on along in this EKU preview. Grant, Eastern Kentucky last year went 8-5. Now, this was the best year that they have had under head coach Walt Wells. They almost pulled off an upset against Kentucky in 2023. If you remember that, it was 28-17. They got blown out by Cincinnati that year and went 5-6. But last year, they went 8-5. They lost in the playoff to Villanova, kind of a last-minute thing. But 2 blowout losses to FBS teams: 56-7 at Mississippi State, 31-0 at Western Kentucky. So this is a team that, for the FCS, I think that they're going to be right there, potentially contending for the playoffs. But when you play an ACC team, things get kind of different. I'm going to read off their the stat line for the quarterback they have coming in, okay? Albany transfer Miles Burkett. He started at Wisconsin, played a year, didn't do much, went to Albany. He had 1,845 yards and 10 touchdowns last year as the starting quarterback for Albany.
The silence was genuine. Deafening.
And he's not a dual threat quarterback either. So, it just doesn't really inspire much confidence with me. They have a decent skills position group. Like Braden Latham is probably going to be the starting running back. He was the backup last year, only had 622 yards and 3 touchdowns. The wide receivers is where a lot of the poise is coming from. Marcus Calwise Jr. was a freshman All-American at the FCS level. Jacob Dixon, PRP product. It's just one of those things. And the offensive line brings back a couple starters. But again, Grant, you look at what happened last year when they played formidable opposition in the Power 4 and even in the FBS, and it just feels like the Cardinals are going to probably have their way on both sides of the football.
That's how it's felt to me too. And again, when I said I would not buy the cover, that is purely from a I hate large spread standpoint, and not that I think that we're capable of doing so standpoint. I think we're a far superior team. If we don't cover that, it's a bit concerning.
Yeah.
But it could be one of those deals where it's 35-0 and they come off the gas. But there's a significant talent discrepancy here. I root for them. I hope that they do well, just not on Saturday.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You root for the Kentucky teams, but take a guess on. So their defense is bringing some guys back from their team last year. One of their cornerbacks, Vito Tisdale.
I saw that.
Remember that name?
I remember it. Guns down, Vito Tisdale.
I had to look at that and I was like, excuse me? Really? Okay. Interesting. I still think the cornerbacks seem like they might be an issue for EKU, and then you have to be on an island with Chris Bell, on an island with Caullin Lacy, Trayshawn Hurry, and those guys. Guarding and manning this Louisville offense is going to be brutal for not only EKU but other teams as well.
I agree. Another familiar name that I saw on their team this is kind of a deep cut to our recruiting sickos, but Katavian Franks, linebacker, former commit.
Are you serious?
He is Katavian Franks is a Eastern Kentucky Colonel. He was a player what'd you say?
I said, dude, I see that now.
Yeah. I got to be honest. Me and another guy who worked for the team were super, super high on him because this was when I was still with the team. He was a part of that recruiting class. I thought he was an under the radar guy. He ended up flips for us, I believe, for Georgia Tech. And then it really didn't pan out there for him. And I wish him all the best, genuinely.
Yeah, of course.
But he was one of those guys. I would have never thought he had ended up. I thought he would be a superstar for us. I thought he was a steal. I hope he breaks out at EKU, but that was a name I was very familiar with because I remember him from the recruiting process long ago, and a few Cardinal fans will remember the same.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of it's one of those things where, not everyone is a diamond in the rough, no matter how much. I know that you and I have probably agreed on players, and they just haven't turned out to be what we thought. But let's flip the discussion now. Outside of your normal names, like your skill position guys for Louisville, Miller Moss, Clev Lubin, and some other guys, TJ Quinn, Stanquan Clark, I'm going to give you a name that I feel like is going to have a big game on Saturday because he's going to get a good amount of reps. He did run a ton with the ones in spring ball, but I think Adonijah Green, this could be a game where he has multiple sacks. Like, I think that he's a guy that's primed for a breakout anyway. 6'6", 250 pounds. He's really going to, compete with Clev Lubin at that Leo spot for the Cardinals. And this is going to be that, okay, watch me work type game and kind of catch everyone's eye. Because I think he's in line for a real breakout season.
This is going to be really crazy when you hear my buy-sell game. It is like you absolutely read my mind. I won't spoil it, but he just about did. I'll discuss this more when we get to another segment, but I've been very high on him since. Speaking of the recruiting process, I've been very high on him.
He was the highest rated guy in that class.
And that was coming in at like 6'6", 210 at the time. He was about a string bean, and we knew we could add that mass onto him. Exactly. The skill was always there. The athleticism was always there. I think that I, along with everyone else, feel really highly about Adonijah Green with the breakout season. Won't spoil how good yet because we have more to come on that with our buy-sell segment later in the show.
Who's a guy that you're looking forward to have a big performance on Saturday?
Tomorrow. All eyes for me, of course, being the wide receivers guy. All eyes on the wide receiver 3 battle. Okay, we got 3 guys largely in the running: Antonio Meeks, Dakari Collins, and Trayshawn Hurry. My guy to watch for this one is a guy who's gotten a lot of hype recently, a lot of positive praise from the staff. That's Trayshawn Hurry. Whenever we added him in the portal, it made me raise an eyebrow because that 3 battle, we had already added Dakari Collins at that point. We had Antonio Meeks already on the roster. I wasn't super inspired, so to speak, by what our options were there. Trayshawn Hurry made me raise an eyebrow. And I just feel like early in the season, maybe we won't see it full-fledged yet at the EKU game. We're going to see probably a rotation at that wide receiver 3 spot for the early part of the season. But I look for Trayshawn Hurry to really start taking a step ahead of the rest of the guys and carving out that role.
Yeah, I mean, Trayshawn Hurry, of course, Jeff Brohm is saying on Monday that Hurry and Meeks have kind of separated themselves for that role. I think Hurry could very well lead the team in yards per reception at the end of the year because he's just that deep ball guy. That's right. And that's not the only thing he can do, but that's what he does particularly well, to where we're going to see a couple of 3 for 100 and a touchdown stat lines, or 2 for 75, for 4 for 120. You know what I'm saying?
Tyler Harrell stat lines.
Exactly. But a little bit more less one-dimensional than Tyler Harrell for sure.
I wish you well, Tyler Harrell. He was a good guy. He was in my receiver room whenever I was there. Wherever you are, buddy, if you're listening, I wish you the best.
He's not listening.
He's not listening. You'd be surprised. I've had people reach out.
He's not listening.
He's not listening.
Anyway,
if he hears this, though, I wish you the best, Tyler Harrell.
I'm really excited to get into our buy-sell game because, look, it's been a while since we found out who's the winner and who's the loser. Well, it's time to kick off the 2025 campaign the best way we know how. Buy-sell. Coming up right after this. But first, I have to take the time to tell you about our friends over at Upside. Are you still paying full price for gas? Stop leaving money behind. Get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now and start earning cash at the pump today. Use my limited time promo code FOOTBALL and get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. You could make up to $300 a year just from buying the gas you already needed. At first, I thought it was too good to be true, but then I found out pretty quickly that it's totally legit. Real people are getting paid just to make their daily commutes, and you can as well. Plus, you can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app now using my limited time promo code FOOTBALL for a limited time 25 cent per gallon bonus. That's with the promo code FOOTBALL. Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions. Grant Mulligan, a.k.a. G-Money, former Louisville football recruiting assistant. He's been on a little bit of a hiatus from the show, but it's been the offseason. He's back just in time to kick off the season. What better way to do that than our signature buy-sell? And you said that you had one similar to my Adonijah Green take, so I'll let you take it away to start the process.
The Adonijah Green, when you were saying it, it was like you read my mind. So I'm going to start off. Adonijah Green arrival game, 3 plays of no gain yardage or loss. Buy or sell?
Oh, I'm going to buy it because I think that he gets 2 sacks already. So that would mean that a tackle for loss. And I think
or a tackle for no game.
Yeah, or a tackle for no game. And I think that he's going to be serviceable in sort of, sealing the edge for the Cardinals and being able to get a good amount of run in this game, especially early on. I think it's going to be an offensive line that, they're bringing some players back, but when they have gone up against this type of opponent, they haven't really been all that serviceable. So I'm going to buy it because I think he's going to be sort of like that player of the game. That's my hot take. So I'm going to buy it. This is one that I kind of have to follow up. Well, here, let me first get – are you buying this?
I'm buying this, yes.
Okay, I figured you were. It feels like one of those that you would buy. This is one that I kind of don't know what you're thinking because of your thought on the large spread. Buy or sell, Eastern Kentucky doesn't score more than 3 points in this game. They shut Austin Peay out last year. I know that's tough to do. I know that garbage time is a thing. But Eastern Kentucky last season, only 7 against Mississippi State, 31-0 against Western Kentucky. They brought in a quarterback with less than 2,000 passing yards and 10 touchdowns with, of course, a defense that is not going to be able to stop this offense. So buy or sell?
I got to sell that just because anything can happen in the course of the game. I think it's entirely possible, 100%, that we get a shutout here. Shutouts are rare for a reason, and 3 points is just a tick above a shutout. I can't – with a Ron English defense.
They did it last year, though, 62-0.
I just can't – I can't bank. Do I really want to take my – do I want to bet my money on a Ron English defense? Do I want that? No.
There's probably better things to bet it on.
There are better things. And for my money, I think it's possible. That this is not like, oh, they're going to go and put 20 on us. 3 is a very small number. Okay. And I simply can't allow myself to stoop that low.
That's fair. I feel like our first buy sells were pretty obvious for the other one to decide on. And I think that it was obvious earlier than the buy sell. I feel like both of us kind of, it was like, oh yeah, he's either buying or he's selling my take right off the bat. Okay, let's redeem ourselves. This is the one that's going to matter. This is the one the fans are going to judge us off of. We're scrapping that one. We're scrapping that one. It's just.
I thought mine was pretty good,
but I answered it really quickly.
Okay, is that it? Is that what we're doing?
Answering it very quickly doesn't equate to like it being like a good buy or sell. I mean, I guess we don't have to scrap it, but this one's going to matter.
This one's going to matter.
Give me your second buy or sell.
My second buy sell is that Miller Moss and the grand majority of the starting out offense, so probably Chris Bell and Caullin Lacy, do not take another snap in the second half.
I'm buying it. I'm
easy?
It. I don't think it's lazy. I think it's just an indication of how I think the first half is going to go. I think that Louisville's going to put up close to 40 points in the first half. I think that offensively, I mean, with the running back duo that they have, I mean, the wide receivers, Miller Moss is as good as advertised, in my opinion. Like, this is just going to be one of those games to where it might take like a series to get going, but you're going to see Louisville start to put points up, in a bunch, in a boatload, especially if they force turnovers and get short field. I could see situations to where, Eastern Kentucky's offense kind of sputters inside their own 30-yard line, right? And all it takes is one pick six, fumble recovery, interception. You see what I'm saying? I'm going to buy it. I don't think if they do, it might be like 1 to 2 possessions.
That was my only – because originally when I wrote the question down, I said 2 possessions into the third quarter. And then I ended up – after our conversation, I just went on ahead and I scaled it back to make it a bit more competitive. Clearly not competitive enough. Personally, if I'm going straight at halftime, I'm going to sell it. I'm going to say that they're going to get 1 or 2 possessions. I think – personally, no chance past halfway through the third quarter mark.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the benchmark. No way past the third quarter, but I think we're still going to see him. I think there's a little more work to be done. We're going to see him for 1 or 2 series after halftime.
That's fair. I kind of I went back and forth on this one just because it was like, man, there's a couple different ways you can go, right? With guys only playing – or supposed to play about 1 half. That's kind of where I was like, how can you really devise this to where it makes a ton of sense? And I'm like, I don't necessarily know. But I came up with this. Duke Watson and Isaac Brown both get over 100 yards rushing and both find the end zone at least once.
I love that. I'm going to buy it because I love it. I think I think the duo of them will absolutely – because I had another idea for a buy-sell. Humor me for a second.
Okay.
On the topic, Duke Watson outpaces Isaac Brown in terms of rushing yardage, but Isaac Brown cashes in twice. That's what I think. I think they both hit the century mark. Isaac Brown cashes in twice. Duke Watson catches in once. How do we feel about it? So for yours, for the fans,
I think I would potentially buy yours. I think that with Duke Watson just being one of those home run threat guys in this type of game, man, I think that if he breaks one off, he's not getting caught. That's kind of my thought. When you look back to the Austin Peay game, those two combined for 11 total carries. Isaac had 123 yards. Duke had 86. Both of them found the end zone. Isaac from 77 yards out, Duke Watson from 58. And I think that, honestly, man, it would surprise me if either one of these guys gets more than 10 carries this game. Like, I think that this is going to be one of those high-efficiency, big-time yardage games for both of these guys. But you're going to keep them fresh because Kewan Brown, John Maurice Wilder, Sean Boykin, Shemai Gates are probably going to get the majority of the workload in that running back room, but I'm going to buy it too. I think that both of these guys are going to at least have one big time run each. And I think that they can find the end zone. I think the main thing that worries me is like, okay, is it going to equate to finding the end zone? I'm not really worried about the yardage. I think the touchdowns, both of them getting touchdowns, are kind of up in the air to me.
I think you're right. I think this is going to be a 10 carry. I think this is going to be a 10 yards per carry game for both of them. I think this is going to be like you go on college football 25, college football 26, and you're just running that ball, man. You got 10 yards. You're not satisfied unless your running backs averaging 10 yards a carry like me. I think it's going to be one of those. I think it's going to be a very fun ground game day.
Yep. No, I don't disagree, man. Hopefully it was indeed a very fun ground game. When we come back, that's going to wrap up the off season of Locked on Louisville. When we come back on Monday, we are officially in season. We'll talk to you then. Go Cards. Hope to see you at Cardinals Stadium. We'll see you back, hopefully, 1-0.